Hi everyone, this is Lucy from Sweet Poppy Stencils. I thought today that I would show you a little project that I did at a workshop a couple of years ago, and I came across the sample today and I just thought it was such a pretty little home decor project that you could tackle with any of your stencils. So for this one we're using the Magnolia Stencil. And we're going to be using some chalk base inks. So we're using the Versamagic little dewdrop chalk base inks. And it's a nice little one that I think you'll all enjoy. You will need, if you wish to give it dimension, your translucent stencil dimension. And it does what it says on the pot. It's going to go completely clear for you. So to start off with, we've got our magnetic sheet. We've got our ivory card, so it's slightly off-white but not cream, and we're going to go in with our little dewdrop inks. And I love these. These are such a soft base ink. They are very juicy. These are an old set. I'm not quite sure what the name is, but I'm sure you can email me or I can pop on the link, the little ink set. So sorry if this does shake a little bit. I'm just gently applying the inks through the stencil. And I'm just building my layer up bit by bit by bit. What is handy to have is a little white jelly roll pen. We sell them in 3 different sizes, size 5, 8 and 10. Size 5 being the smallest. And they're really good for touching up any bleeding areas if you're working on white or off-white card. So again, we're just doing the heads of the flower first. And I just thought, you know, whilst things are quiet and calm and everything, that we can just do a little bit of gentle crafting. So, little bits of your stencil tape. And the reason we're using the magnetic sheet underneath is this is holding it nice, hug and tight for you. So it really does help. Sorry. Even with, say, stencil mediums or chalks or inks, I will always use my magnetic sheet. They are my tools that I never ever cheat without. So because I don't want any green on my flower heads, or rather any pink on my stems, I've got a little bit of masking tape just there. You could cut yourself a little mask if you've got any of the A4 masket sheets. They're quite handy, and then you can store those on the little sheets that come with them and reuse and reuse and reuse them. So again, I'm just applying that and just gently pouncing. For this one, I'm not going to use my stencil brush. Normally you'll see me using stencil brushes and things. I want it quite soft, so I decided not to use it. So I'm using tea leaves and Spanish olive. Now, I think it's tea leaves that doesn't come in this set. I'm going to pop that one away. That is... Let's have a look. That is malted mauve and pink petunia. So we're going in again. So, and just building up our colours. So we're layering the different greens. You can do, you know, magnolias can be any colour. It's up to you. This looks really pretty. White on black as well. It's such an effective stencil, and I just thought, because we were sorting all the things out for TV, so we're on TV on the 20th of April, I just thought this would be a perfect little demo to show you, as I'd forgotten to put it in the TV box as well. There we go. So we're using both of the colours just to get a shading, and you can take as long as you want. You don't have to rush this. You know, it's when you're putting your mediums on, that's when you've got to move quickly. But when you're doing things like inks, then you can just build up your layers bit by bit by bit. And we're just applying So we're going to get shading. Now, what you can use for this particular technique is you can use your dye-based inks, you can use your pigments, or permanent. The only thing with the dye-based inks is you do need to give it a blast with a heat gun just to make sure the inks are dry before you start applying your stencil mediums. Otherwise, you'll find that they will bleed. So again, going in with a bit more of the dark colour, and the little finer bits. What you can sometimes do is you could get a cocktail stick and apply a little bit of the ink, roll it into the ink, and you can draw down the stems. Sometimes that will get into the finer areas. But as long as you're patient, you'll find that, you know, you'll get your inks on there. There we go. Let's show you. So you can see, oops, excuse the glare, you can see that we've applied the ink all over. So let me wipe my hands, put these out of the way, and lids on so they don't dry out. Lovely. Pop those to one side of my smoothers because they'll always roll over the project. So, most important, take your stencil off and give it a good soapy wash. If you don't, what will happen is when you're using your stencil medium, you'll find it contaminate all your project. So pop that to one side into nice warm soapy water, and then pop that to one side. So I've got one already dry here. So I've washed my stencil and I'm just going to line it up, taking a few minutes just to make sure it's lined up nicely. And again, back onto the magnetic sheet. So as I said, I'll never cheat without my magnetic sheet. There we go, it's in camera shot. And when we're applying the medium, so this is the stencil medium, what we'd always make sure is just look at your stencil, and we've got no bridges, so this is not connected to anything. If we swipe this way, we may have a tendency to go under the stencil. So if we come this way, I tend to get a cleaner finish every time that way. Says me, you watch. So again, 1, 2. The table's rocking a little bit. 1 and 2. Down the side. And down the side. Lovely. So you're all screened off. So we're going, as I said, with my translucent medium. It is one of my most favourites, and this will give you a crystal clear finish. It's not a cloudy finish or anything like that. It is a beautiful crystal clear finish. It was formulated for us for that way. So we're just making sure, step down, up, check, I'm all clear, and back in. Just make sure you also clean your pots as well. I'm really bad for not cleaning my pots, and then I wonder why I get bits. So that is going straight into my water. Lid on. And then we're off. So when you're working with stencil mediums and stencils, always remove your stencil. Never leave it on because it will seal to the image. So again, take her off, straight into water, lid on, and then you have your image. Okay, so you can hopefully see your cloudy image there. There we go. So I have one that's already dried. So as I said, what will happen is it will dry absolutely clear. Oops, there we go. So a lovely gloss finish to it. So what we've done is we've got a little IKEA frame, and I've already got one mounted in. So I've cut in a square that's slightly smaller than the mount, and then what I've done is I've actually put over let me just see if I can get my stencil out so I can line it up and show you. Right, excuse me whilst I just quickly wipe, because I don't want to mark the frame. And also, when you're cleaning your stencils, just make sure that you pat them dry with a bit of kitchen roll. Tea towels are not very good for your stencils. It can damage your stencils quite quickly. So all we've done is we've lined the stencil up over. So I won't touch it just in case it's wet. And I've applied the same inks over the top. So going in coordinate corners. So I've then mounted my little frame inside, and I have used a little bit of stencil tape, but stencil tape's not really the best thing for sticking them down. I've got a little bit of my micro pour tape here, so let's just stick that in so that doesn't move. Lovely. There we go. I never know what I'm going to do with my project, so I tend not to put a permanent finish inside. So my little frame in, I'm popping the mount that came with it, so these are brilliant little frames for projects and things. Lovely. So pop that in, and then my base in, and then just stick your little tabs down. Now you could stamp a little word in there if you wanted before you've actually put your frame down, but I haven't for this one. But I just think that is the most prettiest little gift that you could give someone. I hope you enjoyed the little technique, and hopefully I can come back with some more another day for you. Thanks very much. Stay safe.